Hi everyone, it's Pedro Baez, and today is June 22nd, 2026, and this is the Goal for Glory stable update for last week and what's going on for next week. It's just me today. It was a kind of a hectic Father's Day weekend with the Saturday event at Big Z, so that was good to see a lot of people show up, even though it was early in the morning. We had to get there by 8 o'clock, so for me, I had to wake up at like 5 something, which, I'm usually up early anyway, but it's always a little tricky, but it's fine. We actually had it like I would say, talking to Charlie, I think we had record turnout. I think we had like 50 people show up, and it actually was pretty good. So um, just a couple of pictures. I know Charlie sent this out, but this is we only do this a couple times a year. It's as you can see here, you have all the people over here, a couple times a year, but it's fun. It's fun to go over there and just kind of hang out, get some breakfast, um, jog the horses, talk to other, owners, stuff like that. You can see all the horses themselves and go pet them and give them, veggies and or whatever, carrots. Um, Thankfully it was a beautiful day too, beautiful morning. So yeah, it was actually it worked out. It worked out really well. Um, Gretzky was swimming. So we got to see that. So yeah, all is well. And Matt Lamont, our external partner, showed up, so that was good. So it was actually we had like a whole party over there. And then later that night, horses won. We had an Enola winning at Tioga that night. Next day, Checknoutthetalent winning in his debut. So it's this weekend was pretty crazy. So yeah, I want to get this video is late, but there's a lot to talk about. So let's go now. Let's start going through the horses. Um we're gonna do all the horses individually now. So now all the horses are individual because we kind of know there's actually some specific things going on with all the horses. So we're just gonna go um, one by one. As usual, please like or subscribe this if you like the channel. And all right, let's get going. So, Adios My Lindy. Adios My Lindy is she's racing to tomorrow at she's racing. I'm sorry, yeah, tomorrow Tuesday the 23rd at Plainridge, and it's in a maiden trot, and it actually looks um. I mean, she's a really good spot. I think she's more line favorite. So hopefully we can do some damage in there. And the key with talking to Paul, he says he feels like he made a lot of changes to her equipment over the winter, and even now in the Oak Grove races and the Meadowlands races. So like he feels equipment wise and things like that, she's kind of like as good as it's gonna get type of thing. And she has been good. She has been much calmer and kind of following directions. The big thing is like probably not going to. Uh, have her so far off the gate again and running to the gate like she did at Meadowlands and then she broke. So this time, I think it's Brett Beckwith. He's just gonna try to get behind horses and get up to the gate closer. So that she kind of stays focused and everything doesn't throw in steps. But if she stays on gate in this maiden trot, which she only fits because she's a Massachusetts bred, and meaning she'll probably be odds on in this race. If she fits, if she trots, she should do really well in there. So that's the beauty of these young horses is, they don't have that many wins, so they or and money made, so they fit easier low races versus similar experienced horses, and it's good spots to race. So that's where she is on Tuesday tomorrow at Plainridge Park. So we'll see how that goes. Beaueastel, we'll do his replay real quick, and I kind of I'm sure everyone here who's watching Beaueastel, you were thinking the same thing I was thinking. We were like, no, don't do it. So one second, let me pull it up. So we're the 5 horse here with Magical Mike Merton, and we actually became the second favorite. The 7 was the favorite, and the 7 broke. So here, we're going for the front. The 8 is surprisingly going for the front. You know, right here you can question should we have kept trying to go for the front or sit in fourth. The driver Mike Merton chose to sit in fourth. versus to keep going to the front. The problem is, yeah, and we all know this. The problem with like if Bowie sitting second and third, if he's sitting second and third and you go first over, he might be okay. Like he might hang a little longer. But if you're sitting fourth or back and you're going first over with Bowie, it's like I don't know what's up with that horse, but I don't know if he just doesn't like hanging out there by himself. He likes to be follow horses, like be part of the herd. But once he's hanging out there for long, he eventually stops, and that's kind of what he did here. This race went a full second slower than his previous race, and then Boyso raced in his previous race, so he should win this race, but he just didn't. Anyway, seven broke the favorite. We're actually the favorite, so here we are going first over. In hindsight, once we sat fourth, in hindsight, what we had to do was just sit behind that four, stay on the rail behind that four. Everybody would have been going crazy, saying, "Why didn't you go first over? Why didn't you go first over?" What you're seeing is this is why we didn't go first over because this horse. If he's hanging out there for too long like that, going first over, he does this, and it's almost always around that last turn where he'll just switch to like running with the herd. It's a strange horse. He's got all the power in the world, but then he just switches to kind of like running with the herd right here. And he finishes up. I think we grabbed fifth, thankfully, and we barely grabbed fifth from that two that was surging right there. And he grabbed a check, so that's the most important thing that he grabbed a check. It's we should have everybody agrees he should have done better. So he'll be back in the box next week, and then the driver just knows like you can't go first over like that going forward. Going forward, you got to either be in the front, near the front, and if you're near the front, just sit in the rail. If you're like sitting second and third, all right, maybe you can go first over, but more than likely you just gotta sit the rail with that type of horse. Um, uh, anyway, so he's doing well though. He's actually I saw him last weekend and he's a bigger size horse than I thought, big and strong, and he fits well up there. We just he's not a push button horse that you can just drive any single way. So which most horses most of our horses at least are not. So we'll see how that goes. But he's back in the box next week. Tyrrell Downs, Beetlejuice Blue Chip. Um, Beetlejuice Blue Chip. He qualified last week. Um, while we're talking, I'm trying to pull up the qualifiers actually, so that maybe we can watch it. Um, so he qualified last week in. Yep, I do have it actually. Let's see. Beetlejuice. The reason why I'm showing it is because the first qualifier he broke. So this qualifier he stayed on gate, and this qualifier was treated it was in race two on the seventh. This qualifier was treated as like a first qualifier, meaning we didn't make any moves whatsoever. Rob literally just followed the other horses just to give him the experience, and that's normal. So first qualifiers are usually we probably got a little overzealous in the beginning in the first in his we probably got a little overzealous in his first qualifier by pushing off the things like that. But um, usually they're pretty low key. So let me just pull this up real quick. We're just gonna quickly jump to it. All right, we are the five horse here. So we're the five horse here up top, and Beetlejuice is the type of horse that he wants to go forward. He wants to push off the gate. So he actually was pushing off the gate here. So Rob didn't let him go. He wanted to leave. Rob didn't let him leave. So there he is going to the back, um, which is by design. So we last race we left the gate. We tried to get a spot. We got parked out. He eventually got hit in the Beetlejuice got hit right in the smacked right in the face and he broke. So now we just said, you know what, we just got to get this horse qualified. Let's give him some experience. So that's all he's doing here. He's just sitting on a rail following that horse. Um, and he's not a huge horse. Um, but he's not tiny either, and he's got that crazy wow look to him, where he has like that, like the his chest, big chest, and the way he trots, where he lifts those knees up, has a lot of action. That's kind of like you see a lot of the crazy wows do that, and that's what Crazy Wow himself did. He had a lot of action. He lifted his legs up a lot when he was his knee, his front knees, his knees up a lot when he was trotting. Um, and he was super fast, so wasn't a bad thing. It's just how he went around, while how he trotted. So he clearly passed that along to his babies. Um, so there he is sitting fourth over here, and we're just following right now. It's a slow first half. Well, minute and four first half is actually not that slow for 2-year-old trotters first time out. Minute and four is actually it's actually kind of respectable, to be honest. It's actually pretty quick. Usually these first halves are more like 102, 103, at least what they have been. So a minute and four was actually a little faster than usual. There he is just following them, but you can see Rob's not asking him at all. He's just following the horses. And I think those horses actually pulled off um, a snappy last quarter, um, and where they were actually being asked, so like those three horses in the front, you'll see the drivers are actually like um, asking them a bit. Um, and actually, those maybe I'm thinking of a different race. Those no, not really being asked for much over there. Actually, take it back. So there's Beetlejuice. He's just finishing with them. He's finishing strong, trotting strong. Another the back half is in 59 and 4. So it wasn't a crazy back half that these horses did. And they just, it was pretty much a qualified. They just all got experience, qualified, and that's what you're used to seeing with babies. So he'll be Beetlejuice is his first race is in Buffalo on the first, I believe. Just trying to pull up the calendar here. A week from Wednesday on the first. So so we're just gonna train him up until then. So from now until that Wednesday, his he's just being trained up. He's qualified, ready to roll. I think they draw on Saturday. I think so. So at least they drew for Forwhomthebeltolls when she raced there. So that's the plan for him. His next spot is a week from Wednesday, July 1st, Buffalo. Uh, and draw, I think, Saturday. So that's Beetlejuice. Let's move to the next one. Beyond the rules. Beyond the rules, she's doing fine. She is, let's see, she probably won't qualify really. She until the earliest, like after July 4th, so like maybe July 6th or something like that, or the week after. She's just she's actually one of the better horses. Not I don't want to say one of the better horses. She's actually been doing a really good job all winter, and she's just similar to other horses. She's just a little hot right now. So gets a little fired up. So Paul's just working with her to calm her down. Just trying to get her to, just to trust the driver. This is usual with babies. Happens a lot with fillies, where you just got to get the horses, get them used to kind of trusting the driver. Don't fight the driver. Just let the driver tell the horse what to do, and let them know who's in charge, and just they follow. If they listen to the commands and everything, they'll everything will be fine. So. Where her is more just getting her dialed in mentally. Physically, she looks great. She's awesome. So she's looks great. Back of the necks in general have looked pretty good. The ones that debuted so far. So that's her story. So she's doing well. I'd say it won't be next week. I'd say she has a chance for the week after or the week after that to qualify. Paul's just dialing her in right now. Her mentally dialing her in. Um, just trying to get her to relax a little bit and listen to the driver. That's kind of like her thing. Um, So that's beyond the rules. Checking out the talent. Let's go checking out the talent. So he made his debut yesterday, and it was some kind of debut. So checking out. That was some kind of debut, and that by the way, they when we registered him in the U.S., they took out some letters. I guess his name was too long. So just be aware. It's like how they spell it is different than how when we first bought him. It's just the letters are in the U.S. You're only allowed certain amount of letters. So he's the one horse right here, with Mike Merton. This is not winner's 3,000, so it's pretty low level race at Tioga. Not the lowest, but it's pretty low. There he is, pushing to the lead. That five gets the jump on him, and then Of course, Mike Merton retakes. I think we're like 4-5 in here. We should have been 1-9. I was a little when I saw 4-5, I was kind of like almost thinking about putting a bet myself. I was like, how do we 4-5? Like, I mean, that six is coming off a good qualifier, but that six hasn't raced in a year since March 2025. So that's why I was like, hmm, our horse, yeah, he's coming off a good qualifier, but he's been racing every week. He's in form. He's been racing every single week, pretty much in Australia, before he got here. So he's ready to roll. He's got a nice little breather for 6 weeks. So there he is, 27 first quarter. And you see the beauty with checking out talent is 27 first quarter. Let me just move my face here. 56 and 3. So 29 and 3 second quarter. So you see how Mike Merton, how he's able to do the 27 first quarter, get to the front, do the quarter move, and then he's actually able to slow it down to 29 and 3. And then here, it's all the horse. Look at this. He's not Mike Merton's not touching him. This is a qualifier. This is a training mile for checking out talent. And he's just at this point he's just toying with them. So that was a 27 and 3, 27 and 3 third quarter, which I was actually surprised these horses were actually still in it when he did a 27 and 3 third quarter. I thought that would like put him all away, but he's still just, as you can see, not even being touched, not even being asked, no whip, nothing. Earplug still in, just on his own. I think he does like a 28 and 1 last quarter on his own, just putting them all away. So yeah, he's actually he's not a big horse. Yeah, he's not big, like tall or anything like that. And he's not a small horse either. He's a he looks like he's watching, and one of the guys was telling me that Steve was telling me that he's watching was a small sire, stallion himself. So maybe that's why checking out talent isn't huge himself, but there's Robin there on Sunday. You see, he's not that big, but you see, he's built like a tank. You see that? He's not really big and tall, the horse, but he's built like a tank. Look at those muscles. Look at that hind. Hmm. He's compact, like a bullet. But anyway, yeah. So he was great, great debut. We'll find what's next. But yeah, congratulations to all the guys and gals who jumped on checking out the talent. He's not cheap. Um, And we got to pay you. People aren't going to give you a good horse from Australia. They're not just going to give you a good horse for nothing. We got to pay for it. So he's not cheap, but you get what you pay for. And he looked good over there. He raced first. We went through it a million times about kind of what we looked at with him, and it's nice to see what we thought would happen. It's nice to see that it's actually kind of like he's actually showing that he's got some serious talent, checking out talent. So yeah, great. We're just starting slow with him. So we're trying to race him as low as we possibly can until we have to put him in tougher. So we'll see what the next spot is. But like I said, it's just going to be right now. He fits a lot of low races, just kind of how it is with him coming from Australia. So we're just going to take advantage of that, and then um, and then kind of keep working our way up the ladder of where we're gonna race him. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. So it looks like we all might be okay might be okay with this horse. So all right, that's checking out talent. Coach Brooks is he's doing fine. He's about probably 2 weeks away from qualifying or so. He's been training amazing over there, like really doing well. His whole thing is that left front knee again is starting to kind of like, you know, pop up with him, meaning like when he gets onto the track, it's like a little he needs like a lap to kind of warm up. It's like that left front knee is like a little stiff, and he needs kind of like a lap to kind of get out of that little stiffness, work the stiffness out. So he's just gonna get some work done on that left front knee this week. Probably get it injected or something like that, just to give him a little bit of help in that knee, in that joint. But other than that, uh, he's just gonna after that, Paul's gonna give him a training mount, just kind of see how he responds with the injection, and hopefully he responds positively, and if he does, then he won't qualify next week, meaning a week from today, but assuming all goes well and he actually responds positively from that, he might qualify as soon as a week after today, 2 weeks from today, so like July 6th. So that's the story with Coach Brooks. Is he's doing well. Like I said, we're gonna get some work done on that left front knee just to kind of see if that give him a little support, and then hopefully all goes well from that. And then, like I said, it won't be next week, but probably the week after is the target. Um, for him for that horse. So he is doing very well though overall. He's training nicely, really beautiful gait. Um, uh, so other than that, Paul's looking forward to him. So it's just typical what we're seeing with like the left knee and everything like that is like typical baby stuff. Um, so we'll just kind of keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens next week. Well, we'll see kind of where what happens this time next week, for Paul's update on that horse. But other than that, nothing. He's moving along fine, so we'll just kind of go from there. Nola, she had a very big win in the Open, and I can't recall if it's her back-to-back win in the Open or she definitely won like 3 times in a row, I think. My whole thing is so we're the 4 horse here. It's only 5 horse field, which is beautiful. I mean, you don't get better than that. And then that 5 was a good horse. That 5 is a good horse. That 5 beat Beaueastel, dominated Beaueastel. And that 5 horse I remember that horse because we had Memento Mori racing against him, and so I saw that 5 in action a lot. He's pretty good from Ohio. Uh, that 2 is the nemesis of Enola, so we're in the front here. So Mike Merton jumped right to the front, and that's kind of how it should be. That with a horse like her, and that's why she's so good. When you're a trotter and you have gate speed and you can get to the front and then you can trot hard through those first turns and actually not break. That's those are like the best trotters. So that's what he did, and that's what he should be doing. That 2 right here is our arch nemesis, Tuis Angel. Um, she's like a she's like a late bloomer. I think she's like 5 years old, something like that. She didn't race at 2, at 3 year old. She didn't start until late. Then she just started getting better and better and better and better and better until now she's an open trotter. You know, and that 2, I was happy that she had to go first over from the 4 spot because I know she's good. I knew that 2. That 2, and the reason why I say she's nemesis is that 2 beat Enola twice, fair and square. She beat her twice. See, this time I like that Mike Merton. He's not letting the 2 get eye to eye. So you see how um I think you're going to see it in a second. He does like a 20. This is like a 27-2 or something third quarter where Mike really lets it loose. So let me see here. We're not up to the third quarter yet. Here we are. Yeah, 128, 127-4. So uh Mike Merton did what we were hoping, which is he did not let that 2 get eye to eye until right now. Until this final turn. We didn't want to be eye to eye on the back stretch. We want to be eye to eye right now. So and even now they're not still eye to eye, which is perfect. So Nola kind of feels her. She's feeling her, and that's when Mike Merton asks Nola, and she's game. She's game. Super game. She puts her away. So I'm just happy we got revenge. She went 154 lifetime mark, and the way she did it was great. Just holding off these really good horses. So just trying to show here. I think we actually had a pretty good turnout. This was, like I said, the day of the Big Z event, and I think Mike Merton had a crowd. That's Aaron over there. That's Aaron, just so you all know. Aaron, Tracy, um, Allie, they're the ones they handle their Rob Team Harmon North. They handle the Tioga barn. We have a barn up there. So you got a couple of guys all get in here, made the journey up to Tioga Downs and awarded for it. So congratulations, everyone. That was a great win. And that was a great win. And Enola's back in the box for next week. So we'll see how things go. So that's Enola. For whom the bell tolls. We're just gonna wait until her next race on the 4th. I want to say it's the 4th or 5th. Um, third, 4th, or 5th. Let's just double check real quick. We have it. Basically, there's the Goshen uh in Goshen, New York, they have like that's where the harness racing museum is, and that's Good Times track is there, and they some barns use it to for training still, like Schnicker, um, John McDermott, some other guys. Um, so her July 4th. So Goshen July 4th. So that's on uh a week from Saturday is her next race, July 4th, and then we'll kind of just see how things go from there. Um, but she's got a long season, so everybody just got to hang in there. She got look at July. She got three potential stakes races in July, another three in August, and then she got the finals in September. Also in September, she's got Massachusetts starting up. In October, you got more Massachusetts. So she's got a long season. So just hang in there. This is normal for stakes racing where it's different than the overnights. They don't race every week. It's different. You got to map out the whole stake season. So anyway, that's for whom the bell tolls, and she will be just trained up pretty much until the fourth. Um, and she's doing well. Geologic, he is in to go on tomorrow at Plainridge. He is in like a non-winners 5,000, and yeah, we'll see. I think he's also the morning line favorite, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, he still should do some damage in there. He's been racing great. The class isn't great. It's like this non-winners 5,000, so they're kind of putting him with older horses, but I think he's still good enough that he should still do some damage. So we like his chances, and that's he's on Tuesday, and after this. I should have mentioned this with Adios, but I guess a lot of Adios owners are on Geologic. So Geologic and Adios will race back to back. So they're gonna race Tuesday tomorrow, and then they're gonna race again on the 30th. And then in July they won't race that much. So they'll probably skip at least that second week, in July. So but they're gonna go back to back. So tomorrow and then we're gonna try again for the next Tuesday, back to back at Plainridge with Geologic and Adios. And we got Brett Beckwith on both of them, so we're in good spots, good hands. So, all right, Gretzky the Great. Gretzky the Great. I sent an email out to the Gretzky owners. He this morning he will, he his leg that was recently injured that we in back in December that we were giving him time to recover from. He was sore on that leg, and the tendon was tender again and pulsing. So we're getting that ultrasounded today. So he was scratched from the race, and we just let Rob know that for us, we did all we can for the horse. So it's becoming clear that becoming a racehorse is not in his staying a racehorse is not something he can do. He's just going to keep hurting himself. So we're going to look to find a home, either a buyer or um, uh, a group like Purple Haze or new vocations, things like that. Just his days as a racehorse are over. So it's not the ending we wanted. We were actually hoping we can race him and get some couple of wins out of it. That's why we paid all his money on him for 5, 6 months. But for us, we can't do this again. We can't do another 3 or 4 months paying bills, praying for this horse to come back just to race in cheap claimers. So it's this is kind of like the downside of the game where you have these unfortunate situations, and it won't be the last. We're gonna have more. You try to limit how many of these situations you have, but there's only a certain amount of things you can control. So, but that's the story with him is he will be sold or retired, and we're just trying to figure out the best option, and um and then kind of move on from there and cut the losses, stop the bleeding, and all of us we can just we can go to sleep at night knowing we did our best for the horse. We gave him tons of time, tons of resources, vet fee, vet treatment, everything you can imagine. And it's just not his body isn't cooperating. So that's the story with him. We'll keep you posted on the next test, but the bills are going to drop dramatically because he's just turned out in stall rest right now, and which is how it should be because we just can't keep putting more money into that horse, and we're gonna turn the page and move on. So that's Gretzky the Great. We'll keep you posted on that one. Invictus, he actually raced really well. He was in a tough race, um, although wasn't as tough as I thought. Like I thought it was a lot tougher on paper, based on what some people were saying, and even the morning line odds. But he actually raced really, really well in here. So we're the six horse. Yeah, I say he raced really well, but that's we were taken to the back, taken to last. So All right, so here we are taken to the back, and 6 horse field. And these horses in the front, they're pretty good. I don't want to say they're not because they're pretty good. But we were in the back over here with Tyler Buter, number one driver at Pocono Downs. And he like I said, he actually raced really well. This actually might be the way he looked at the end, which where I wasn't at the end yet, but this actually might be one of the best races he's had all year. Um, or even for us. And this is why Poconos is like, you know, this race isn't that high. I think it's like the third highest from the bottom from the condition ladder. But as you can see here, it's pretty tough. So we try to race here. We try to race her when we can, but there's a reason why we don't race her that much. It's just you kind of have to go really fast for not much money. Um, so yeah, they go, yeah, 55 first half. We're all the way in the back, and I think they do a 56 back half. So, he's what, 6, 7 lengths in the back. So if they do a 56 back half, just do the math. If he's 7 lengths in the back, and if they go 56 right now, then that means he's got to go 53 and three just to catch up to the winner. He's got to go 53 and three, which he's never done that his entire life. I don't think he's done that. And to ask him would be, I mean, that's just a lot. So there he is. I do think because he actually finished with a lot of pace. The problem is, Tyler doesn't know the horse, so he wasn't really asking him. Once he starts asking him right now, all of a sudden you see the horse start coming on. He starts coming on like a freight train. All of a sudden now, see now he's coming on. He had a little more room. This horse might get third. He passed that horse easily, and look, he's still coming. He was flying. I mean, it almost looks like Tallow didn't realize I don't want to speak for Tallow, but it looked like he had a lot of horse. I mean, he looked great. The horse looked really well. So he's getting some treatment this week on his stifles, but we'll see kind of how he's doing from that, and then we'll just look for his next spot. Um, like I said, with that horse, we just got to keep figuring out where to race him. Meadowlands obviously is the goal, but there's not really anything good at Meadowlands for him to race in. So we just gotta keep looking for spots, and uh, and as far as Meadowlands in general, we're working on something behind the scenes. I'm trying to just try to figure out how we can get more Meadowlands horses. It's a tricky place to race. There's a reason why it's a tricky place to race. We can talk about it for days. So, but we do want to be there more often. It's not easy to do that. Like there's to do it consistently. Like this, we can dip in there every now and then. And we find if we find a spot, but to race there consistently, like a horse that's like always there, it's a little tricky. So we're working on that. We'll keep you posted. Um, just something that we're trying to think about and just how do we race there a little bit more. So that's Meadowlands and Invictus. Just Rose's luck. Well, we got a lot of it. This is like we got a lot of videos. Like goodness gracious. Um, she was in the Open, Tioga Downs Open, so we had to bump her up from the Monticello Open. Uh, we didn't want to. She obviously was doing great at Monticello, so didn't want to, but they didn't fill the Open twice, so 2 weeks in a row she didn't get to race because just not enough horses were available. So there she is. She's the 5 horse getting off the gate like she always does. 7 horse I think was the favorite coming in from Yonkers, and there we were. There we were sitting in the pocket, which was perfect. Um, and Rose she's just really sharp right now. And she's a horse. This is why I like, back, I want to say what, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, everybody was jumping off the cliff with Rosa. And we try to explain that there are some things that's out of her control. So like when she was sick at the Meadowlands and then we lost a month, it's out of her control. She tied up. When she got injured when we first got her, it's out of her control. She got hurt. You know, when when she had the 7 and 8 posts she kept getting the 7 and 8 posts constantly at Yonkers. That's what are you gonna do? She was 7 and 8, and then even when she had and then we did draw okay a few times. Then she was in the field, she was inside, and she was like 25 to 1 still because the horses were too good. Like I said, she's a good horse. It's just you just gotta find the right spot, and she will show up every single time. So there she is sitting behind the 7. They're just these horses are pretty much lined up. That horse on a 6 is making a move, but I don't think that 6 goes anywhere. Um, right here, I think. right here at the third quarter, like I think right now, Mike Merton, he's got a chance to go to pull outside and actually just give the seven a challenge for the win. Right here, he can do it. At the three quarter, he decides not to, and that cost us the race. Um, and there's a reason why. It's because, from his perspective is that's his perspective. That seven on paper was coming from Yonkers. All this, all that looked like this great horse. So on paper, he's like, well, if I sit behind that horse, that horse should win, and then I can go shoot the rail and try to get second, stuff like that. So instead, that seven was not that good, was not that impossible to beat at all. And, we kind of got stuck behind it trying to find space at the end, and it was too late. And so we ended up getting third, where we probably could have won that race or been second. So that was the open. That was the Tioga Downs Open. So Rosa looked amazing. So she looked good. So she's back in the box for that same spot, and we'll kind of keep going from there. So it was just she probably could have won or got second. She's just really sharp right now. She fits nicely up there. So all right, that's Rosa. Ma's always right. Ma's always right. She's doing well, and she will qualify next week on. So we're gonna have our first Paul Kelly qualifier for Ma's always right next week on Monday, June 29th is the target for Ma's always right. She's just kind of she's just been doing um a really good job. So she's been just kind of like what's the word? I don't want to say not noticeable, but just show when Paul asks her to go faster, she goes faster. She's just kind of like there's no fluff about her. So I don't want to say like a machine, but she's just been checking every box and kind of moving right along. So that's what you hope for. So there's really nothing holding her back. She's ready to qualify, so she'll qualify on Monday. I think she might have made a break um, in her training mile last week towards the end of it, but wasn't Paul. It was like think it was like a water truck coming by that never usually is in there at that time, and she was kind of looking at it, and it kind of threw her off, and she rolled over at the end. But she's never done that before, so Paul's not concerned. He said she's ready to qualify. She's ready to go. So she Ma's always right is ready to qualify next week Monday at Vernon Downs. I do not think qualifiers are available to watch, unfortunately. So that's the only downside. We got to wait for Paul's commentary um and the results on USTA, but she will be in next week. All right, Memento Mori, he's probably racing in 5 minutes while we're talking. So, but he's actually doing well. He's in that spot. We just gotta he well he raced last week actually. We're gonna do a Memento Mori's replay while he's about to race in 5 minutes. Um, but just to show you that he's been good. So he was racing last week. That three horse I think that three horse was 2 to 5. They paid like 40 something thousand, like $41,000 for that horse. Um, so I think he should be 2 to 5, whatever he was. We were the two horse. We actually got off the gate pretty good here. Um, Mental Mori, he's a small little guy, but he has tons of heart. He has tons of heart. So there he is getting around, and on the turns, he runs in the turns, but he's actually pretty quick. Even though he runs in, he's like quick. He's very quick around the turns. So so that's why he parked out that four because that four was trying to get the jump on us, and he said, "No, no, I'm closing my gap." So there he is. He's sitting third. Um, like I said, I was expecting that three to be on the top. That three, that three. If that three didn't win, that would have been a problem for them. Um, and there we are, though. We're sitting third right there, and I mean, everyone knows we're going to go first over on it. And I'm pretty sure this is the race where it becomes a two-horse race. I saw this race, I think, while I was driving home from Tioga when I was up there for a long weekend. So I was watching it on a tiny phone, but yeah, he looks good. I mean, he looks good. I mean, he's a smaller framed horse, as we all know. So we're working hard to make sure he has keeping weight on him and things like that. But yeah, there he is making his move, his patented brush, third quarter brush up the backstretch, and that one is struggling to keep up. But there's our boy Maury. He's going right past that one. That's why you like this horse because he has heart. He's getting around this turn here. That three is trying to. Wally's asking that three, so that three is trying to get away from us. But Maury he's still there. He's still coming. He's not done yet. So there he is at the end. He did give that horse a little bit of a scare, but there he is at the end. And I like our horse, so he was good. I think he went in like what 56 and change, was just excellent, excellent. So he's in to go in literally in a few minutes at Saratoga. So we'll see what's next with him. Um, Northern Attitude. Let's do Northern Attitude. He made his debut at um, Plain Ridge, and he had the seven post. So of course they weren't cooperating with us for debuts. So there he is, the seven post, and I think he gets taken right to the back, right away. And the way they race at Plain Ridge is, if you go to the back, you almost have no chance. That's why you see like the horses leaving so hard. It's almost like Plain Ridge has almost become kind of similar to Yonkers or even Saratoga. They just all leave. They just all leave like that first. You see, look at this. That first quarter, there's got to be what 27 first quarter, 26 and change. I mean, because they're flying to the lead. They all want to be near the front. And I think there's another horse that's about to retake. Yeah, their favorite. He's about to so 27 and change, and they're all quarter moving and stuff like that. So that two is probably going 26 and change. So this is just for this level race, non-winners of four is like a lot going on here, you know. And and we're sitting all the way in the back here. We're following this horse. And by the way, Northern Attitude, we think he actually is tied up right now. We're getting blood work done. We just the blood work we like to get from a specific vet, so it takes a little longer than usual. So, but he's getting his blood work done. Um, and because right here he wasn't following. I was hoping he would follow that four and just kind of be right on the helmet. And so when he didn't, it was kind of like, there's something going on with him. And yeah, but then he actually did finish strong. He did finish strong in the end. Like I think he actually was charted with a 56 back half, which you could tell because he actually does finish this race pretty pretty well. It's not like he just gapped it or anything. Um, so that's the deal with him. So we're just getting his blood work done. This horse can usually do 55 back halves for breakfast. So I think he did a 56 here. We think he normally can do more like 55 and 1, 55 and 2, especially with fractions like this. So something's up as far as, he's only 3 years old. He's never, this was like a 3.5 hour commute to Plain Ridge. You had to get there early, all this stuff. So, maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it was just the horse being nervous first time out, or first, nervous in a new barn. He's 3 years old. He's 3 years old. So, he'll be off next week just because he was a little, like sweating and stuff, showing signs he might be nervous or tied up. So he's off this week, and then next week he'll be back. We're looking to put him back in, and he'll probably go to like Tioga or something next when he's back ready to roll. But he's a nice horse. He only got 3 wins. He's got some power to him. We just gotta, like I said, he's a young horse. He's only 3 years old. Never raced last year, so we just gotta kind of baby him the rest of the way and keep him strong, keep him motivated, and there's plenty of places to race him because he fits a lot. So good horse. We'll see what's next. But next week he won't be in next week just to get him treated for the tie up. So that's Northern Attitude. On Tap Lindy, he is another one that he is targeted to qualify. Not next week, a week, 2 weeks from today. So July 6th is when On Tap Lindy is being targeted to qualify. So same, assuming everything goes well with like Beyond the Rules and stuff, and Coach Brooks, probably like July 6th is what On Tap looking. So 2 weeks from now to qualify, and he's doing fine. He broke again in his qualifier towards the end, and well, I don't know if he broke or he kind of like acts like he's about to break towards the end. And Paul said he's done this like all winter, which not breaking, but more like when he gets every time you ask him to go like a faster training mile, he always gets a little light in the front, meaning he starts kind of like acting like he wants to run, but he's not. Um, so. Paul's just gonna tinker this week. Just give him probably try him out. Try give him like a training mount with like bell boots in the front, like to add some more weight to the front. To maybe if you add a little more weight, that'll make him not want to do that at the end of the mile. So we'll see. But that's the story with On Tap Lindy. Is he as far as fitness and health and everything, he's ready to roll. But it won't be next week because we just want to try him out with those bell boots. Heavier, some more weight in the front, and he'll be, and assuming all goes well, then he'll the target is 2 weeks from today on July 6th for On Tap Lindy. So On Tap, so the reinforcements are coming. All right, On Tap Lindy. So I think that's it with him. Yeah, and all these horses have been like 204, 205, 206. So they're already motoring like qualifying speed. Um, so that's the story with On Tap Lindy. Scene Lindy. She is coming up to. She's still turned out. She's going to go to uh, Vernon Downs in about 2 weeks. So same thing, like July 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th, around there, and then she's going to start training back. So if all goes well, we're hoping she can be ready. She should be ready by for Massachusetts in September. Um, Yes, 'cause it's going to be because she's been turned out for like what 3 months already, so it's going to be another 2 3 months to train her back. I mean, it's not going to take as long as it did in the winter because she's already in shape from all that training, but it'll take a little bit, So, but assuming all goes well, she should be ready for Massachusetts in late September and qualify at some point, late August or September to be ready for that, or some point in August or September for that. So she's right on she's doing her thing just at Saratoga in the farm and this for 2 more weeks. That's seen Lindy. Seven Seagrams, seven Seagrams. So she is still turned out. We tried to qualify her on the 10th, and she was just that's where she just did not. She was like had no interest in being there whatsoever. Skipped last week. Treating her for tie up, and then we actually pulled her blood again, and it's like she's actually still tied up a week later. So um, she's not gonna qualify again this week, and we're just gonna keep working on her until her levels go down. Like I said, the way she's tied up in the way like I've seen it before with fillies. I saw it with a 3-year-old filly we had, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that, and I've seen it where they it's a certain type of tie up where it's like this where the horse just doesn't even want to be there. So you could tell. I know what this is, and we can't race that horse until she gets out of this because that particular type of you know those levels that she's showing for her liver and everything for her tie up. I mean, it's not serious or anything, but it's just when a horse is like that, they're nervous and they're all worked up. They just usually don't perform. They don't want to race. They they just kind of go through the motions, and then you'll see like when they're that stuff is when their levels are back to normal and they're fully healthy, it's all of a sudden like a completely different horse. So like we just gotta kind of give her the time to work through what she's working through. Um, and like I said, I've seen it before, and it's just something that they just need a little bit of time to kind of adjust. Hopefully, it's not it doesn't take forever, but but as far as um when she'll qualify and just like that, we just gotta wait. We're all gonna have to just wait until she's kind of through over this phase, and this doesn't hurt. She's been working hard since September, so this doesn't it doesn't hurt for her to have a little break right now just to kind of get everything corrected before showtime. And with how good Solar Queen has looked, remember Seven Seagrams has shown has demonstrated every week to be a few levels above Solar Queen, at least in training and stuff. So um, Solar Queen's older. Solar Queen's I think like a February foal. Seven Seagrams I think is like a May foal. So she's got what 3 months on her of age and maturity, which is big in horse years. Maybe that contributing, who knows? But um, so that's her story. She's not qualifying this week. She's still turned out, still getting treatment for her tie up in the liver, and we just gotta hope. We're just gonna keep hoping that she gets better. That she gets better, and then then we can kind of see what we got um at some point. So that's kind of the story with her. Ship's Revenge. Ship's Revenge was big news with her. She was confirmed to be there was a heartbeat with American Courage Foal. So congratulations to all Ship's Revenge owners. There is a heartbeat, an American Courage heartbeat baby. Not sure if it's girl or boy in her womb. So this is a great accomplishment. I was like super relieved when I heard it, and now we just gotta wait. So now we just wait, but 9 months because I think she was bred about a little more than a month ago. So it's should take about then we gotta wait like 10 months for the foal to come, and with the maidens because she's a maiden, first time broodmare. The babies do sometimes go past their due date, so like it might not be like an April 15th or something. It might be more like a week later or something, week or two weeks later. She said they could go past their due date. The maidens, very common because the reason why is they just don't know what's going on. The horses, the mares, they don't know what's going on with their kind of like their body. They're like, what just happened? What's going on here? So it sometimes could take a bit, but then once they have their first baby, it becomes like it's almost like exactly 11 months. It's like a machine almost. I don't want to say machine, but it becomes like very um you're going to be hitting that birthday, that expected date almost exactly when they're old, after they had the first baby. But this first one we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't hopefully, we'll see. Maybe it does go on time. But that's the story with Seven Ships Revenge. We just got to wait now, do periodic checkups, make sure all is good. But yeah, it's not going to be much for now for the next 9 months until the baby comes. So that's Chips Revenge. Congratulations, everyone. Soho Skyfall. He did not race last week. We're targeting him for Tioga Downs on Sunday, for his next spot. He's just a horse that one week he shows us that he's like, snapped out of it and he's like this legit powerhouse. And then the next week he does like, that race before where he gets beat as a favorite, and then the race where he paces out of his skin and breaks, for no reason. He just, it's just his head. He goes crazy sometimes. So we're going to try to race him off the pace. That's going to be the big thing on Sunday is we kind of want to race him off the pace and kind of reset his mind a little bit, to not be, don't put him on the front right away. Try to get off a helmet, go first over if we have to. So that's the story with Soho. So he'll be in the draw for Wednesday on Sunday at Tioga Downs. And we just got to get him mentally on right. That's really his deal. Physically, he's okay. Solar Queen, we'll just do Solar Queen real quick, and we'll do her, just show you her qualifier. Um, she broke uh, in her qualifier, and one moment. Okay, she's the three horse with Rob, and this qualifier we were trying to get a little speed from her. So there she is leaving the gate, and that's for a 2-year old trotter, she actually showed some gate speed. Like you're like, oh, she didn't show much, but she actually did. So there she is, and she's actually doing pretty well there. She's getting around the turn nicely. She's keeping her nose pretty much on the helmet of the five. And here you see how in the turns, she's actually really good in the turns. So you see how in the turn she's actually gaining ground on that five. So she's just an interesting horse. Where on the turn, she's actually got some speed to her. Now it's on the straightaways that she can be a little bit, wonky. And this is a good case where there she is. She's behind the five. She's going well, going well, going well. All of a sudden, breaks. No reason, breaks. She actually regains stride and catches, and she's in the back, and she actually does do a pretty good mile. Um, but that's baby racing. So there was no talking to Rob. There's no reason in particular for it. It's just her being just jumping off out of nowhere, and that's what we're gonna deal with babies, with 2-year-old babies especially. We're gonna be dealing with that a lot. Just hang in there. So she qualified the week before, so she's actually ready to roll if we wanted to. But she's gonna qualify again on Wednesday at Poconos, just because Rob wants to just give her a really good mile, a quick, fast mile, where she's on the lead or something and without breaking, obviously, and give her a real good workout before her stakes racing begins on. I think hers is. want to say, am I drawing a blank with her? I want to say hers is like the third, fourth, or fifth, one of those. Uh, let me just pull it up real quick. We're talking about Solar Queen. Her first race is where's Solar Queen? July 6th, Monday, July 6th. So 2 weeks from today. So she'll get a qualifier on Wednesday, and then 2 weeks from today is her first race at Monticello in Excelsior. So, so that's the story with Solar Queen. All right, let's go on. Who's next? The second chapter. So, second chapter, he similar to Gretzky. So, he will be. We're moving on from second chapter. So, Paul trained him a fast training mile this past week, and it was no good. He was no same the same thing he was doing before. He's not eligible to be a racehorse. He won't be a racehorse. So, um, Paul he said it's time to move on. So, obviously for us, if he didn't say it, we would we our vote is to move on too. It's it's almost 2 years that we had this horse and he's never even raced. So, and it happens, like we try to limit these, is one horse. We try to, out of what, like 23 horses we have. So we try to limit the, horses like that we're keeping over from three that never race. And then we're just paying bills and all this and all that. But it happens every now and then that you get one that gets you good. So he got us good. Um, and it's normal. Like I said, we've not our first. So anyone who's owned will go for glory in the past. You've known that from babies. We had Tarango last year. We had, Omakase a few years ago. Before that, the list goes on of babies that don't pan out for whatever reason. It's going to happen. So he's one that didn't pan out. But I'm just happy that, would I have wanted this last effort to work and then we can race him and then, maybe sell him off of that? Absolutely. But it wasn't meant to be. So he's we're gonna look to move him, and the good thing is he is a trotter. He's a nice looking trotter, so he is actually a candidate for the Amish that they might actually pay pay decent for him, or or he's if not, if they don't want to pay for him, then he's a decent candidate for just to like retire somewhere like Purple Haze or New Vocations and things like that. So the key with him is the bills are stopping, so no more bills. I mean, let me rephrase it. We still gotta like let us see what the story is as far as like he's clearly gonna get turned out, so we're not gonna have any more training costs anymore. We just gotta see how long it's gonna take for him to be as long to be like I said sold or what's the word, donated, retired. We gotta kind of see what the next step is for him. Um, and for us, it's just we can't, I mean, I think his bill was what, like 8,000, $9,000 last month with the shipping and the clinic bill and stuff like that. So it's a killer. So we just gotta stop the pain, use that money, save that money, and then we can put it to better horses and things like that. So we don't want to. You never want your money going to horses that don't have much upside, and he clearly has zero upside now, has negative upside actually. So we're gonna move on and just cut our losses and call it a day. So that's the story with second chapter, and you'll hear from more as we get more information, of where he's going and this and that. But that's the story. We're not gonna keep trying with him anymore. That's the second chapter. Um, and Uncle Rat, he is racing next. He raced last week, and I think he just broke around the first turn, I want to say. Um, and I think let me just pull this up. He's another one I was watching on the way back. So there he is. He's a two horse. You see, what scared me right away is that his nose wasn't on the gate. So Uncle Rat, you got to put his nose on the gate, or else he goes a little crazy. And here, he was leaving so hard, like to protect position, and then he breaks right there, like where his nose was like right on the one. I don't know why you don't have to leave that hard with the horse. Just like if he was where the three was. Like to me, he should have been like where well the three broke too, but if he three was crazy. But he should have been like at least a length of two back and just let those horses get to the front. He'll he can go first over from the four spot and easily go past him. So he actually regains his trot, and somehow, as you see here, he somehow catches the field, and he actually makes a power move here. It actually looks like he might actually do more than fifth here. But he eventually got tired. I think he spotted the field 15, 20 lengths to still be in it. It was ridiculous. So I think he still almost got fourth here. And this is a horse that, like I said, spotted the field 15, 20 lengths, and he still caught up. That was crazy. So he's in today. He's racing few minutes or hours or so. We'll see where where to go after that. But he's a nice horse. He's a little crazy in the head. It's just you need to get to the gate a certain way. He doesn't like to be he doesn't like to be on the lead. He doesn't like to be pushed off the gate. Uh like I said, you got to give him a hard warm. There's like all this stuff with this horse that's like it's he does have a lot going on of what he likes, but when you actually race him the right way, he's pretty good. But it's like you just kind of don't know what you're gonna get. He's a little bit of a head case, so which a lot of our horses are. So anyway, with that being said, this video is really long. Uncle Rat would be, I think he'll be back in for the following week, assuming what happens today. Long update. Hope you all have a good week. Hope you all had a good time at Big Z on Saturday, and we'll just keep marching forward and moving along. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a good week.